Okay, so we're ready to start. We have our heat on medium now. If you haven't done much pan frying, you don't want to put things in the oil and then have it soak up the oil and then start to sizzle. You want this to sizzle as soon as it goes in, to prevent from having greasy soaked food. So you can put it in there and see how it immediately starts cooking. If I get out of the way, I got the seam side down. Just lay it down in there. Don't be careful, but see how it soaks up. You just want to keep that to a minimum. So there's one. There's two. And the more you add, the more that the oil is actually going to cool down from adding this stuff in here. So while since I have it on medium, yeah, it's going to be, pretty warm, but it's also oil is also going to drop in temperature the more that I add. So that's another reason why you want to limit how many you do at one time, and really be careful, don't burn your fingers. We're going to set the timer for 3 minutes. And we're going to let these babies go. You can see back here on the edges, they're already starting to brown up. And that's why you want to control your temperature. You don't want burnt wrappers and raw pork. That's not good lumpia. So now you can see they're really starting to cook well. They're wrapped up fairly tightly, so all the moisture that's inside there is starting to steam, and that's going to help everything cook. And it's trial and error. You could start with 1 or 2 lumpia and test your oil, but it's only going to be slightly different in how the temperature and the oil changes from putting in a few or putting in many. Alright, so we're going to wait till this 3 minutes is over, and we're going to flip them. Okay, our 3 minutes is up. We're going to flip these. Now, a couple of them cracked open, so when we do, it's going to raise all manner of hell. But here we go. There's one. Look at that. Nice golden brown. Look at that. Oh, yeah, baby. Here's the 2 that are cracked open. 1, 2. So as that moisture comes out from those cracked openings, the oils are going to react more. We're going to reset our timer for 2 minutes. And we're only going to cook this second side for 2 minutes. And when that time's up, we're going to bring them out. Okay, just a couple more seconds. Our 2 minutes is up for the second side. And we're going to start pulling these out. Now, you see how dark the first side is. And in comparison, you see how kind of light the second side is. This is where I was saying that your first ones are going to be the most crunchiest, because when you take these out and put in the next batch, the first side on the next batch is going to end up like this. The oil gets cooler the more you go. So let's pull these out. And I'm going to leave the side that was in the oil down and put over here on the rack, because I want that oil to start dripping off. I want these things to be crunchy, not soaked in oil, right? So I'm going to leave them that side oil down, or the side that was in the oil down. I'm going to give them a chance to leak out any oil that might be in there. We want crunchy, delicious lumpia. Okay? So let that happen. Bring those over. I'm going to get my skillet off the heat, and I'm going to turn off the heat. Now, these things are rocket hot. You cannot eat these right now. If you cannot help yourself, and you absolutely have to have some seasoning, then by all means just use sea salt. Sea salt is an after cooking salt, whereas kosher salt is a while you cook salt. And if you're still cooking with table salt, shame on you. So if you must, just go ahead, just give them a very light sprinkle of sea salt. All the pores are still open right now because they're so hot. And so when you season them right when they first come out and it cools down and those pores close, it's going to seal in that salty flavor, and one side is plenty. I normally would not even do that. I just did this for demonstration purposes. And again, I'm in my own light, but just very lightly. And you can see that these are some very nice looking lumpia. And we're gonna let them cool down. We'll go from there. Okay, so let's review. We have our lumpia now, our first 5 in our batch, and let's test it out. You can see the nice crispy where it broke open, and the first batch, we want to crunch. The pork is cooked all the way through. It's hot, but man, it's good. Now, here's another thing about lumpia. This flavor isn't going to hit you all at once and you're going to be like, all that work just for that. Lumpia has a great aftertaste. After you've eaten like the first one and those flavors get in your mouth, and you wait about a minute and you're going to be like, really? And then you're going to be grabbing the golf club and you're going to be grabbing everything. Hey, get away from my lumpia! Thank you for watching.